love each other, but do not own each other. They let the love flow like a river in between the banks of your soul. And politics is a part of our life. And if I inhale political air, I have to exhale political art. And every artist has to be political. If somebody says, like recently, some Bollywood star said, no, I'm an artist. I don't comment on politics. I mean, what kind of an artist are you if you don't comment on politics? That only means that you have surrendered yourself to a fit of power and say, please don't harm me. I will not comment anything. The thing is what you think when you are young.
Yes.
If you continue to think the same thing when you are growing up, then you are a big fool.
Okay.
Because consistency is only, the fools are consistent.
Guys, welcome back to another interesting episode of Popcorn with You. I'm your host Priyanka Naigazai, and today we have immense pleasure of hosting an internationally renowned artist, Dr. Subodh Kerkar. Dr. Kerkar's journey from medical field to the world of art is a testament to his extraordinary creativity and vision. Known for using innovative material like shisel, sand, driftwood, Dr. Kerkar's journey is deeply rooted to cultural and ecological landscape of Goa. His work transcends beyond the traditional boundaries, merging environment consciousness with creative expression. He is the founder of Museum of Goa, an institution that has been dedicated for showcasing and preserving Goan culture with contemporary art. His works has been exhibited internationally, including at the prestigious venues like Burj Al Arab, where he has created an installation that has grabbed global attention. Today, we'll dwell into his artistic journey, his thoughts on intersection of art and culture, and his inspiration. Welcome to the show, sir. It's our pleasure to have you as our guest.
A pleasure.
So let's dive right in. I'll just begin by asking very simple question like, how are you?
Oh, well, I'm very fine. An artist has to be fine because I do what I love to do. So that makes me fine every day.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you share with us your journey from being a doctor to becoming an internationally renowned artist? Like, what led to this shift?
Well, I'm not internationally renowned or anything. I'm just a happy artist, fairly satisfied with my work. And all these great artists and all these tags are, I think, meaningless because there is nothing of that sort. And competition should be amongst horses, not amongst human beings. And so, anyway, every child is an artist. And I was also an artist as a child. But then I think I was lucky that my father was also painting. He was a school teacher, but learned painting and he was painting. And he encouraged me in what I was doing.
Yeah.
And that led to sort of more interest in painting. That led to also encouragement in other studies.
Okay.
And so I became a doctor because when I was 18, like most people, I also wanted to be almost everybody. I didn't know exactly whom I wanted to be.
Okay.
But I was luckily a good student. So I had 7th in the board, so I could get admission anywhere.
In your 12th grade? In your 12th grade?
In SSC as well as in 12th. So getting admission is not a problem for me. So, well, and I wanted to become almost everybody. I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be an engineer, I wanted to be an architect, I wanted to be a scientist, I wanted to be an author, I wanted to be a politician. Only thing I was sure I don't want to become was I didn't want to become a soldier.
Okay.
I didn't want to become a priest.
But why not soldier?
That's because I don't believe in war. I'm a man of peace and I feel war is the ugliest thing the world is facing. Okay. And so war basically tells us that we are not civilized. So war is a sign of not civilization but barbarism. And so soldier I never wanted to become. Okay. I basically feel that there should be no need in a civilized world to have armies. There could be tables across which you can negotiate things. That's what I believe in. And so I didn't want to become soldiers. I didn't want to become a priest. And I didn't want to become a shopkeeper. And I didn't want to become a mafia don.
Mafia Don.
And I didn't want to become a mafia don, and I could not become a singer because I was bad at it. So except for these 5 things, there was hardly anything which I didn't want to become.
Okay, so you just said that every child is an artist. So what made you think so or feel so?
Well, I'm a 65 years old child.
Okay.
So to be an artist, you have to keep the child alive in you. And I managed to keep that child alive. An artist has to be a child because artist has to be having that feeling of wonderment about the world, love for the world, inquisition. I mean, all the time inquisitive about what is this, what is that. Wonder about the sky, wonder about the butterflies, about this forest. And when you do all that, that are the signs of an artist. Okay. You have to be very sensitive to the world and empathize with the world. And if you do so, I have managed to remain a child at the age of 65.
That's wonderful, sir. So we have noticed that you often use unconventional materials like seashell, sand, driftwood in your artwork. So what's the purpose of using such materials?
That's total openness which I have. So, in general, most people feel that art is basically a landscape, a portrait, or maybe a sculpture of Buddha. Yeah. Because most Indian people, and not that everywhere else everybody is enlightened, but in a country of 1.3 billion people, not more than about 100, 200,000 people are connected with contemporary art. Okay. Others have no idea what this world is about, and I can't blame them because you never get an exposure to the world of contemporary art. Like living in, for example, Kunkoli. Where are you going to see contemporary art? Even in Goa, there is a little bit happening. Not that nothing is happening, but it is not in your world. And so it is, and I feel that it is very important that everybody connects with art because art has many functions. The function of art is not decoration. Function of art is expressing something, and it's a decoration of the soul, not decoration of the hall or a wall. And so materials and all this is sort of comes now natural to me to explore everything, and so I use different techniques, different materials. Actually, because you have mentioned function of art, I had a question based on it. So, what is your definition of art? Oh, it's not just my definition. I've been studying this for the last many years. And art, I think, is a womb in which human civilization is born. Womb in which human civilization is born in the womb of art. Yeah. Okay. Because without art, there is no civilization. Okay. Because if you study the history of human civilization, it is the history of art. Not just painting and sculpture, it's a history of literature, it's a history of theatre, history of in recent times cinema, sculpture, architecture. And it is through all this that we understand civilization. Then what is the purpose of any form of art in human life? Oh, well, art gives meaning to life. Let me explain. It has many functions. Okay. Now, would you be happy, for example, with just food, shelter, and clothing? Not really. No. I wouldn't be happy, but I would be satisfied because basic needs of. So, but then there are needs of human beings which are beyond food, shelter, and clothing. Those are all the needs which are taken care of art. But even in food, shelter, and clothing, art is involved. Because when it's food, you like to decorate a plate. You like to create it, make it tasty. That's art. Yeah. You don't just put a sort of a slab over your head, but you want to make a beautiful house. Yeah. Architecture. So there also the art is involved. Yeah. And clothing, of course, today there are models taking over the world, as they claim, with their clothing. Yeah. So clothing also, we add a lot of aesthetics and we add a lot of art. Yes. So the whole existence of humanity is based on art. Now, imagine during COVID, there was no arts. Okay. Imagine there was no music. There was no cinema. There was no television. There was no literature. How would you survive? So the whole world during COVID put their head on the shoulders of art. So art is actually, and I talked about needs beyond food, shelter, and clothing. What are those needs? Those needs are memory. So we are interested in memory, and that memory is satisfied by art. Because sculptures, when you look at a sculpture in Ajanta and Ellora, the sculptures also look at you. And a dog, for example, is not interested in the memory of and history of the canine world 10,000 years ago. But human beings are interested. So that memory is satisfied by art. We have need for divinity. Divinity, so we want to know about what the creation, is there God, there is no God, and all those needs. So the art sort of connects to divinity.
So, because you have mentioned about God, and because when I entered the Museum of Goa, the first thing what I saw was an idol, an art created of Lord Ganesha.
Yeah.
So that made me think that you are a spiritual person. Because of which I'm asking you a question: what does God or spirituality means to you?
It's very simple. I don't need any religion.
Okay.
I don't believe in any religion. I'm actually very pained that a lot of conflict is happening in human society because of religion. The solace is also happening. A lot of people get solace out of religion. But especially the division of Hindu, Muslim, Christians in India, what is happening, and religion is used for politics. It's actually insult to religion and insult to God, because the religion is basically about your relationship to the divine, and that should be a private relationship.
So, what is divine to you?
So for me, divine is the whole cosmos, the whole universe.
Okay.
There are stars and planets, and they move with some kind of rule. They don't just go scatter here and there like the traffic in cities. So there is a kind of a system there. And you cannot have that kind of a system unless there is some kind of administration. And that some force. And I don't consider divinity a person. I consider it a principle. And that principle, which sort of guides the cosmic bodies all around, is what I bow down to. And when I bow down to that, I feel I am a small speck on a tiny speck on earth. But at the same time, I am proud that I am a part of this whole universe. So and that is my divinity, bowing down to this principle which guides the universe.
It's kind of nirvana bhakti, wherein you pray you bow down to a formless God.
To a formless God. But at the same time, if you tell a farmer that, okay, no, there is no God, he will say, are you mad? So it's all right to have idols. Because some people will need idols. I don't need an idol, but I create idols. I create this thing basically because, the mythology interests me. As an artist, it gives me a kick to create with Ganesha and all other gods, and even Christ.
Beautifully expressed, sir. So, but while I was doing my bit of research before coming over here, I got to know that earlier you were an atheist, like you used to not believe in the formless God. So then what led to the shift of being someone who is spiritual?
Well, it's like I was an atheist because, this is a kind of a movement in Europe where with the advent of scientific knowledge, you felt science is God. And Gandhi puts it very beautifully. He, that idea of God as a principle is Gandhi's. And I am, the thing is what you think when you are young. If you continue to think the same thing when you are growing up, then you are a big fool. Because consistency is only, the fools are consistent. So you have to keep changing because you have to, when you acquire more knowledge, it has to reflect in your convictions. So my convictions, I was once a member of BJP, and today, if you ask me, I think that is the biggest mistake in my life, and that's the party which is dividing the country. And so I can never be part of, I am ashamed that I was once a member of that party.
Okay. So because you have made reference to the great Mahatma Gandhi, and because through my research I got to know that you have eventually accepted yourself to be the student of Mahatma Gandhi.
Yes.
I wanted to know what aspect of his life and philosophy resonates the most with you.
In 2014, when Modi became the Prime Minister, I was furious, I was boiling. I said, okay, what is happening to this country? The very idea of India, which was conceived by the fathers of our constitution, the people who worked for the freedom of this country.
Yeah.
The idea of India was demolished by the Prime Minister and demolished by the ideology of the party.
Yeah.
And I was furious, I was angry, and I hated him. And then I decided I didn't know what to do because I was just boiling.
Yeah.
And I just started studying Gandhi. I had already studied Gandhi before,
Yeah.
but I started studying Gandhi very seriously.
Okay.
And that helped me tremendously.
How did
That
you-
made a basic difference in my whole approach to life. After studying Gandhi, I will never hate Mr. Modi.
Okay.
I will oppose him, but I shall not hate. Because if I hate, there is no difference between them and me.
Sure.
Because hating is something which is bad. So you cannot, the Gandhi puts it very beautifully. He says you oppose the sin, not the sinner. Even in the worst of a sinner, there is some divinity left. So I wish that there is some divinity left in these people who are dividing the country.
So basically, you dislike their idea, their concept, but you
Not
don't
the person.
dislike them as a person.
A person you must not dislike or hate anybody, not just them, nobody. And that is one of the greatest teachings of Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay, so that's beautifully explained.
Yeah.
So how do you approach the process of conceptualizing large-scale installation? Like, do you first start with an idea or material or location?
No, it's nothing of that sort. You do not separate art from the rest of life. So, art is very much connected to what I read, all aspects of life, and then some idea emerges.
Okay.
And art is a vehicle of presenting that idea.
Okay.
Well, I will elaborate a little bit more. I will say that, many people come to me to show me their art.
Yeah.
Because now I'm supposed to be so-called senior artist.
Yeah.
And so they show me the drawings of their children, their own drawing, maybe their wife's drawing.
Yeah.
And they ask me to comment.
Okay.
Most of them are decorative works. They have copied some Amitabh Bachchan or they have copied something. Most of them. The children's works are much nicer.
Yeah.
And but then I have to tell you that skill does not make art. Skill to be able to draw does not make you an artist.
Then what makes you an artist?
So, if skill could make you artist, then knowing grammar would make you author.
Sure.
So, if you know grammar very well, you don't become a writer.
Yeah.
To become a writer, you have to have something to say.
Yeah.
So, you have to have something to say. So, art is basically when you have something to say.
Yeah.
All forms of art become vehicles. If you're an author, you will write about it. If you're a poet, you will create a poetry about it.
Okay.
If you're a sculptor, you will make a sculpture. A cinematographer will make a cinema out of it, or theatre out of it. So for me, this is a vehicle of propagating whatever idea which I have. And so, for example, I do large-scale installations, so shells.
Yeah.
I plant thousands of shells on the beach. Why do I do it? Now, I do it because when the shells are planted, of course, it looks very beautiful, but there is a little bit more to it than just looking beautiful. If we consider our culture as a sculpture, who is the sculptor? The sculptor is the ocean. Because the ocean, especially in the coastal area, ocean brought people, ocean brought ideas, ocean brought food, and all of this created our culture.
Sure.
So I celebrate the ocean as a creator of culture, as a medium of intercontinental cultural diffusions.
Wonderful.
And so when I create an impression of the ocean using shells, many interesting things are happening there. Who is my inspiration? The ocean is the inspiration.
Yeah.
Who is my theme? Ocean is the theme. Medium is given to me by the ocean. And the canvas is also the ocean because I do it on the beach.
Yes.
So there are a lot of thought processes in this. It is just not that going and planting shells there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what has been the most challenging project you have worked on and how did it shape you as an artist?
Oh, the challenging project is just improving every day. Because you have to keep learning. I mean, Gandhi puts it very beautifully. Learn as if you are never going to die and live as if you are going to die tomorrow. So, challenging project is just self-improvement.
Okay. So, can you share your experience of creating an art in front of Burj Al Arab? Like, how did this iconic setting influence your creative process and the final outcome of this work?
Well, that is again to do with history.
Okay.
I mean, right from the Harappan civilization, which is 2000 BC,
Yeah.
we have had Arab ships coming to the Indian coast.
Yeah.
And the Arab ships came to Lothal, which is one of the first ports of the world in Gujarat today. And Goa has also been a very old port.
Yeah.
Much before the Portuguese came, it was already a prosperous port. And so Arab ships came here, and we have so much of influence of the Arabs here.
Okay.
And the influence is not just superficial, it's a deep influence. We only talk about the Portuguese influence, but if we really examine our culture, then there is so much of Arab influence. For example, Saint Francis Xavier, the patron saint of the Christians, or the Portuguese, 450 years of Portuguese rule. They came with a vengeance against Islam and they slaughtered Muslims here when they came, when Al-Bukhari came here. But what is the patron saint called? Goinzo Sahib, and Sahib is an Arabic word. Sahibin is Mrs. Sahib. The very idol of the goddess of Christianity has become as a Muslim name.
Yeah.
So that is a kind of influence. Everybody says Saiba Bogos. It's an Arabic term. So whether it is Wakil or whether it is Bazaar, all these are Arabic terms, and they are so much ingrained here. And we don't talk about it, but actually even the Akash Kandil of Diwali is Arabic, it's an Islamic influence. There are so many influences because the traders were important. Trade was important for any port. And the trade was in the hands of the Arabs.
Okay.
And in Kerala, what are the Muslims called? Maplas. What is Maplas? Son-in-laws. Because much before Islam was established, the Nayars of Kerala got their daughters married to the Arab traders.
Oh.
And so they became son-in-laws. And even the name is even stuck today. So there are so many influences. When I do a sculpture of a boat next to Burj Arab, all these things are celebrated.
So it is a very meaningful and a historical art.
Absolutely.
Okay, sir. So what inspired you to start Museum of Goa? Like, was there any specific moment or experience that made you realize the need of such space in Goa?
Of course, there is a need not just in Goa, there is a need of such places all over the country. In Europe, they're lucky to have a lot of interesting museums of contemporary art.
Yes.
But in India, we don't have.
Yes.
I mean, in Goa, this is the only one museum of contemporary art. The government museum, not even a fly goes there.
Yeah.
So of course, there's not a museum of contemporary art.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying that it is important because art, as I told you, has many functions. And one of the functions of art is to help people enjoy life, understand life, have a kind of a harmonious relationship between environment and the inner world and the outer world. Has many functions. And art also makes you plural, which is very much necessary today. Because when you look at a painting, your interpretation is as valid as mine.
Sure.
And so art makes you think out of box. There is a very beautiful poem by Rumi. He says there is a field of the right and there is a field of the wrong. And beyond this field, there is another field that is mid there. The function of art is to hold your finger and take you to that field which lies beyond the field of right and wrong.
Okay, sir. So, what do you consider as the best work you have created till date?
My children. So, as far as works are concerned, works keep happening. There is always, I believe in hope I will create better works. Not more children anyway.
Okay. So, how do you view the relationship between art and politics? Like, do you believe artists have a responsibility to engage in political issues?
Yeah, well, art is an expression of time. Artists are receptors, sensors, and transmitters of ideas in a society.
Okay.
So now if there's a war happening outside your window, you don't sit in your studio and paint flowers.
Sure.
You have to respond to the war. Not just as an artist, if you're a writer, you have to respond to that war. Otherwise, what kind of a writer are you?
Yeah.
If you're a poet, you have to respond to the situation. And politics is a part of our life. And if I inhale political air, I have to exhale political art. And every artist has to be political. If somebody says, like recently some Bollywood star said, no, I'm an artist, I don't comment on politics. I mean, what kind of an artist are you if you don't comment on politics? That only means that you have surrendered yourself to a fit of power and say, please don't harm me, I will not comment anything. That only means you are coward and you have just sold your soul. So every artist, right-thinking artist, has to comment in politics, has to respond to politics.
But sir, is it because art is something which is connected to your emotions, right? So is it because of your emotion that you are creating an art related to the social issues, or is it because you want to create social awareness?
No, it's not something like this. I mean, if you art, as I told you, is an expression of time. It's a whisper of time. And whatever happens during this time, during this era, you have to respond to it. Art is a response to what is your experience. So your experience is political and anything. There's a famine, there's COVID, there's so many things. Whatever is happening around you, you has to find an expression in your art. You can't be sitting here in Goa and say, I'm painting igloos of Eskimos.
Sure.
That is not your experience. So you have to respond to what is happening here, in your surroundings.
So do you believe that in order to portray something or express something in any form of art, consider it into paintings or poetry or literature, you need to experience it?
Ideally experience it, or maybe somebody else's experience will also do, but that's what is called empathy.
Your art?
That's what is called empathy. Empathy is basically art, the local becomes universal in art.
Yeah.
In poetry, when you talk about love, it's not just your love, it's a universal love. It becomes anybody's love. Any boy and girl in love can respond to your love poetry.
Sure.
So the art makes everything universal.
Do you ever think of death?
Yeah, well, death is sort of inevitable and everybody thinks of death, and so do I.
Are you scared of your own death?
Oh, well, scared. I mean, if there is something which is basically like this, you die only once, but you live every day. So it is more important that you live every day properly. And death will anyway come. But to talk about death, there is a very nice poem. It's a poem by Tagore. When death knocks on my door and says your time has come, I shall tell death I never lived in time, I lived in love. And when death asks me, will your art be remembered forever? I shall tell death, I do not know. I do not know whether my art will be remembered forever, but when I created it, I felt eternity.
Okay.
So art makes you connect with eternity.
So I think you love reading poetry.
Very much.
Which is your favorite poet?
Oh, there are many. There is not one, but because I started very young and I sort of used to sit on Miramar beach and read Tagore, and I read Rumi and Gibran. So those are the poets I know by heart.
Yeah. Any particular favorite line from the poem that you love?
I just recited one. Okay, let me talk about love.
Okay.
Love each other, but do not own each other. Let the love flow like a river in between the banks of your soul.
What is love for you?
Love for me is, it's love. It's just, if my life is a pickle, I'm marinated in the oil of love. It's marination. Yeah.
So how would you say, what is love for you?
Love for me is just love is life. There is nothing else in the world what is more important than love. So you have to love. If you hate, that is not life. To love is to live.
Okay. So I think you have shared this amazing idea with government about creating a liberation park, right?
Yes.
So what exactly is it? Can you elaborate on this?
No, I would not just talk only about Liberation Park, but what I would say is this, that Goa is a tourist state.
Okay, yeah.
And art is very, very important for any tourist state. Art is important for every state, but especially when thousands of tourists, there are more people coming to Goa than people who live here.
Yeah.
And there are we have 115 lakhs is the population of Goa, 45 lakhs is the number of tourists who come. So for every Goan, there are 3 tourists.
Yes.
And so when so many tourists come, we have to have something very interesting we create for them. Yeah. And I'm very sad to say that the combined wisdom of all governments since liberation could create only casinos for the tourists.
Yeah.
That's very shameful and that's very disturbing, because could you not have any other idea? The beaches are given by God. The old Goa churches are created by Portuguese.
Yeah.
Huh? And the Asagaon restaurants are created by all Delhiwalas.
Yeah.
There's one by my son also.
Yeah.
But then, so what? I mean, you have to create something which can become a major tourist attraction. Then, liberation parks, sculpture parks is what the government should be creating.
Okay, sir. So,
Liberation Park is only a name.
okay, no, but I thought like while I was doing my study, I saw that you made a reference to particular area when you wanted to create a park.
Yeah, I still have that
using
idea. If any government comes and asks me whether can you help doing something like this, I would, because that's
what
important.
exactly is the idea about it? Like
The idea about Liberation Park is basically that's just a name. Everywhere you go anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
They celebrate the liberation of that place. There will be a Liberation Gate in France or somewhere else.
Okay.
So the Liberation Park is just a name. I wanted to create a park full of art, which will be of such high quality that people will throng to have a look at it.
Okay.
And we have many, many good artists in Goa. In Goa is a small state, but we have I know at least 20, 30 artists who are of national standard or some of them world standard. But then you need a proper curator to choose art.
Yeah.
Many times, a lot of things which are put in the public area by the government are very, very bad. That's because they are selected by people who do not understand art.
Yeah.
Because if you have a heart problem, you don't go to secretary health.
Yeah.
You have to go to a cardiologist.
Sure.
The same way we have an art problem, you come to a curator. You don't go to the secretary culture.
Sure. Okay. So let's have some fun question. If you could create art anywhere in the world with no limit, where would it be and what would you create?
I would like to create. There's a small island which I have in Ai.
Okay.
When I drive from the Dabolim airport,
Yeah.
there's an island, tiny island with a tiny cross in the river.
Okay.
I would like to create a large sculpture there, which can become an iconic sculpture of Goa.
Okay, sir. If you could have dinner with 3 people, living or dead, who would they be and
Yeah,
why?
well, I would definitely like to have a dinner with Gandhi, Einstein, and Charlie Chaplin.
And why? Reasons?
Basically, Gandhi, obviously, because he's an icon for me.
Yes.
I mean, the very presence of that person will make me so happy.
Yeah.
Though the food, as Obama also said he would like to have dinner with Gandhi,
Yeah.
but he added it will be a very frugal meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine. But it won't be for the meal that I would have a dinner with Gandhi. From Einstein, basically, because, one of the greatest brains which were created in the world, and also a great friend of Gandhi and a great admirer of Gandhi.
Sure.
Many people who sort of talk against Gandhi, and they do it without knowing Gandhi. I wanted sometimes just ask them, do you think you are smarter than Einstein? Because if Einstein said that there is such a one in flesh and blood, generations to come shall scarce believe that such a one in flesh and blood ever walked on this earth. That's what he had great admiration of Gandhi, and he's not a fool. And Einstein is not a person who will just casually make remarks about anybody.
Yeah.
So, and then Charlie Chaplin, again, because he gave so much of joy to so many people.
Happiness.
And he was also an admirer of Gandhi and met Gandhi.
Yeah.
And then he had also met Einstein. And there was a very nice conversation between them.
Yeah.
Einstein told him that you don't speak a word.
Yeah.
And the whole world admires you. That Einstein told Chaplin. Chaplin said, you said so much and nobody understands what you said. Still they admire you. So,
Okay, sir. So what's one thing on your bucket list that you still haven't crossed off?
well, I would like to see end of war in the world.
End of what?
End of all wars in the world.
Okay.
That I would like to see a civilized world where any problem can be solved across a table and not with guns.
But that's not like totally in your control, right?
But I think it is on everybody's control. Everybody has to start thinking like that. It's not in my control, but I would like definitely see a world without hate.
Okay. Okay, sir. So what are your upcoming projects that you're excited about?
Well, I have many, many projects. Now, my next museum is a beer museum. Then in Maharashtra, I have about 35,000 square meters of land where I'm doing one of the largest art projects in the country, which would be a sculpture park. I want to create a museum of Indian Ocean.
Okay.
I want to create an island with soil from all countries of the world where young people come and celebrate one world as a form of art.
And what are the themes for all these works? Like,
Love.
Okay.
Empathy.
What advice would you give to the young artists who may face backlash or controversies for their creative expressions?
No, I think the only advice I can give is to be sincere, be honest to the core, be hardworking, and then something will happen. I mean, you cannot become a great singer or great writer by doing any manipulations.
Yeah.
You have to have it in you. You have to struggle hard. I come here at 8 o'clock and I leave at 8 o'clock. I work 12 hours a day
Okay.
and sometimes more. So there is no shortcut to hard work. And then I don't do work. I don't even feel that it is work. For me, it's just I have fun for 12 hours every day. And there is nothing called a holiday in my life. Because, I don't see any difference between a holiday and working day because I basically believe that advice to young people is this: only purpose of life is to be happy. There is no other purpose in life. And if you do something which you love to do, there is a possibility you'll be happy. If you do something which you don't like to do, you'll be definitely unhappy.
Okay.
Just do what you love to do and without thinking of any repercussions and work hard and you'll be successful.
Okay, so just a last question. I just wanted to ask you, being someone from Goa, do you think Goa gives you opportunity to grow in the field of art?
I mean, growth in the field of art is internal, it's not external. It is in all your mind. You grow inside your mind. You don't grow as an artist in Goa or in Maharashtra or here or there. Encouragement from the society and all is required for an artist. But then, in spite of that, also you can grow. But growth of an artist, growth of a writer, growth of a poet, growth of a singer is internal.
But sir, in case if you are taking it as a full-time job, as a profession, you need to look after your family. That's a responsibility which you have.
Yeah.
You need money.
Yeah.
So being someone from Goa, is it easy for you?
No, it's not. It has never been easy to live as an artist. Never been easy to earn money as an artist. Even today, it is not. How many people earn money out of? I myself gave up my medicine when I was an artist. I was a struggling artist. Not that I was getting suddenly money, but then I believed in it and I continued. And not everybody can sort of achieve that, but at the same time, struggle itself is a great journey.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time and
Pleasure.
insight. It has been an enlightening conversation for me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning into this episode of Popcorn with Piyu. If you have enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your fellows. Also, don't forget to follow us on other social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Stay tuned for more insightful conversation with some remarkable individuals. Until the next episode, this Priyanka Naik is signing off.